Distinguished guests, my name is Zahid Kamran, and I will be the moderator for today's Q&A session with Senator Penry, who is running for the governor's nomination of the Republican Party for the state of Colorado. I welcome you all to this distinct gathering once again on behalf of Pakistani American Association of Colorado. It will be appropriate to mention here today that PAAC, which stands for Pakistani American Association of Colorado, is a non-partisan platform where in future we will invite candidates from other political parties for Q&A sessions. This Q&A session will be entirely focused on the issues which directly affect our beautiful state of Colorado. Moreover, the questions should be structured in a non-hostile manner. And for that, we have selected the following categories. The categories are: 1, state rights over federal regulations. Number 2, repeal of tax increase. Number 3, gas and oil restrictions. Number 4, state immigration enforcement. 5, state water rights. Second Amendment, state rights. 7, union free choice amendment. 8, population growth. 9, state budget control. 10, preservation, land development. 11, health reform. 12, education. 13, crime. And the last category is economy. Senator Penry, your intention to run for the highest political office in the state of Colorado is a case of your stature should engage themselves in understanding the real issues of the unengaging political and non-political audiences who have lost their faith in political processes. And also, we must admit that the last 8 years of Republican policies were not too attractive to many. On this note, I'll start the Q&A session with this question. Ladies and gentlemen, to Mr. Penry, what will you do to win back the lost trust of the Pakistani Americans, Hispanic Americans, Black Americans, and independents? And also, what makes you a better candidate for governor of Colorado than your rivals from other political parties? To you, Mr. Penry.
Well, thank you for the question. Before I answer the question, thank you for the opportunity to be with you again. I enjoyed very much the opportunity to have lunch with you, I guess 6, 8 weeks ago. It's been now a couple of months back, but it was a wonderful opportunity. I said then what I'll say now today, and it's a good transition, I think, to your question, and that is elected leaders need to engage broad cross-sections of communities. We need to go out and those of us seeking office articulate in a clear way how we would lead, what we would do if given the chance. And so over the course of the last 10 weeks since I announced that I was running for governor, we've been doing that in a very real way. You know, after the last election where hope and change was the order of choice, I think people are wanting to delve a little deeper. They want to know with some specificity what it is that you're going to accomplish. And so for the opportunity to be here, thank you for organizing this. Thank you all for coming. The premise of your question is a factual one, and that is the Republican Party did not govern well over the last 10 years. In Washington, we doubled the national debt, we spent too much, we taxed too much, and we very quickly became the party of business as usual. At the state level, Republicans have failed, I think, in offering up relevant solutions to the real challenges that the state faces. I'm not a big government guy, but I do think, and I'm certainly not a no government guy, I think there's a role for government. I believe in limited, disciplined, and focused government, and government that's focused on a handful of things, and that which it should do well. And so, to the question, how do you win back the support of those communities? I don't think about it in terms of communities or demographics or racial groups necessarily. I think both political parties, candidly, have let the entire country down They have spent too much, they've taxed too much. More fundamental than that, they refuse to make tough choices in the here and now that are necessary for a better tomorrow. In Washington, that means we've increased the national debt. We continue to add on new programs and into a system in a way that's just not sustainable. In Colorado, this governor and this General Assembly have increased taxes and fees by $1 billion at a time when families and businesses are struggling to get by. They push through uncompromising drilling restrictions that are reducing the amount of energy production. I know we'll talk about that. And so government isn't leading well. It's not making tough choices. It's not doing what's necessary in the here and now for a better tomorrow. I think what we need is, one, leadership is going to step out and say, you know what, both parties have lost their way. But let's get a new way. Let's do things differently. Let's have a government that's focused on making tough choices, on living within its means, on reforming government institutions, making sure that when government is in a legitimate area where it should be, like transportation, that it's governing well and delivering what it should be. So that's my philosophy in terms of how we engage broad communities with a broad cross-section of this state, is by saying, let's get this economy back on its feet and let's make government work better. Why am I a better candidate? One, I have a strong record of being a person who is a fiscal conservative. I'm tired of tax and spend. I'm tired of borrow and spend, whether the Republicans or Democrats are doing it. Shame on both of them. I have a strong record of being a person who says government should live within its means. Two, and I know we're going to talk about this later, I have a very real vision for how to get this economy back on its feet, get moms and dads working again. And third, I think I have a record of being a person who goes in and engages government in reforms. It makes it work better. I have a long track record of working on public education issues, for example, push through legislation to raise standards in public schools and expand choice for parents. So the combination of those three things, underlined by the fact that I'm a leader, I'm a guy who wants to get in there and solve problems, I think is what makes me the best person to lead.
Well, I see many dismayed, disgruntled, and fatigued Coloradans, vocal and unvocal. They are dissatisfied with the state of economy, with the demise of opportunity once used to be called an American dream.